Tony D and Little Joan with the Screenwriters Rant on three very exciting movies. The first one is called Project Silence, a horror movie about a bridge. I think it's in Korea. And then Gator Creek, about some tourists who end up in the wetlands of Florida fighting gators. And then High Rollers starring John Travolta. This is a sequel to another heist movie type movie made, and so there's a lot of excitement here. Smash like and subscribe. Thank you for smash liking and subscribing. Check out my books, the links are in the description. Comedy horror in South Jersey, it's the Pineys, books 1 through 16, available at Amazon.com. Don't forget, Kindle Unlimited is free. So Project Silence is a horror movie, and it is action-packed. I got to say that. The only downside, I would say, it's a very dark movie. It takes place over a very short period of time on a bridge. And the premise is there is a massive car accident on a foggy bridge, and in that car accident is a truck carrying a secret experiment. I think they're specially bred dogs with superpowers or something, and then everybody's trapped on the bridge and trying to get off while the dogs are killing everyone, and it's really tough to get off the bridge. It's not totally clear, but there are a lot of fun characters. Let me see if I can read these credits. There's no way I can read these credits. Holy God, what have you done? Written by Kim Tae-gon and Park E-suk and Kim Jong-hwa. Directed by Kim Tae-gong. All right, so it took 3 people to write this movie. I could read it. It's very dark. It looks like it was all shot on a sound stage mostly. Not really knocking it, but I hate it when it's so dark I can't see things in a movie. But I guess that's part of the deal. Man, you go blind seeing this movie. This would be my only criticism of it. Other than that, it's badass. I mean, the excitement never stops, at least in the trailer. You got this guy, he's the wacky guy saying, "Oh, we're going to die." And he also has a pet little dog that he carries with him. Little dog's in this one, Joe. Little dog. You'll like this movie. And he keeps saving him, so I like that. And then there's a family dude. I think he's the main dude. This guy, and he's saving his family. He ends up saving him too. I think he was in the military at one point. I don't know. It's a little different in South Korea how things roll out, but it looks action packed, and they're like figuring out the mystery as they're trying to get across the bridge. But they spend the whole movie on the bridge, I think. So it looks cool. I would totally see this. Absolutely. I mean, there's a little dog in it. Why wouldn't you see it? So first act, everybody's, I don't know, they're heading towards this bridge for some reason. It's probably one of those extra long bridges. And, you set up all the characters that are out for a drive or whatever the hell they're doing. And then the big accident hits, right? And at first, it's just really bad. And people aren't sure what to do. And I guess they closed the bridge. I don't know. You'd think cars would just keep coming on the bridge and crashing. You can see it's pretty long, so I suspect it's very long. I don't know what the bridges are like in South Korea. So they're trying to figure out what to do, and then this other element's introduced with these dogs or whatever they are. So now they have to get off the bridge much more quickly. They have to deal with, I assume, other people coming on the bridge. There's a scene where a helicopter crashes on the bridge trying to rescue them, and there's all sorts of exciting moments. And then the third act, they run over the dog and escape the bridge somehow. Although in South Korean movies, they tend to be a little more melodramatic. They tend to skew that way. So maybe one of them dies, sacrificing himself to save the rest of his family or something. But I'd like to see him live. I'm rooting for him. 100% I would see this. I think it'll be good. I think it's worth seeing. It's called Project Silence. Let's read the write-up. Silence takes place when an accident occurs on a foggy bridge, and as a result, an unknown beast is unleashed. Sounds like somebody from South Korea wrote that synopsis. All right, moving on to Gator Creek. So these people are in a plane. It looks kind of like one of those smaller planes, like private jet sized, but with tons of seats as opposed to just like for 4 people. And he decides to fly over the Everglades so people could see it from the plane, but then he ends up crashing. And the whole place is just rife with gators, and the gators are hunting everybody. And one by one, they're being killed. And then they come to find out there's some sort of chemical leaking into the water that's driving the driving the gators crazy. And that's why they're doing this. I think it's meth. I'm almost sure it's meth gator stuff. And so I think the gators are addicted to meth, maybe. And they have to escape the Everglades before they all die. But man, there's a lot of gruesome deaths in this. And this is in the Red Band trailer. So it looks pretty good. I would see it. I don't know if I have a strong feeling about this, but definitely would be a interesting movie, I'm going to say. Solid enough premise. I respect them for not naming it Meth Gator or something stupid like that. Kind of elevates it a little bit. So first act, they get in a plane and they're going over the Everglades and they crash. Second act, the gators are after them, and see, that's him being addicted to meth. They're trying to figure out what's wrong with these gators. They're being killed one by one. Eventually they find the meth sometime in the second act, and they try to use that to lure the gators away or kill them, I guess. And then one by one they're all being killed, and eventually I'm going to say 6 of them. There's a lot of people in this movie. Maybe 4 to 6 of them survive, and the end. So, doesn't look awful. I know that's kind of a weak sauce review of it, but I'm only looking at the trailer. So, Gator Creek. Here it is. Oh, it's not showing up. Gator Creek. Boy, it's not on here. Gator Creek is not on here, so I don't know. Not in the IMDb for some reason. But I would check it out. Probably be on Amazon or Netflix or something. I think it would be tolerable for a monster movie. It's basically a monster movie. Kind of like Jaws, but with gators. It looks fine. Looks a little, probably a little too gruesome for me, but enough that I could tolerate it. And finally, there's High Rollers, starring John Travolta. Now, this is a sequel to another movie he did with the same character, and so it's kind of like Ocean's 11, in that he's a guy who performs heists, but he is retired, and but some bad guys kidnap his wife. So now he's forced to rob the casino on the bad guy's behalf. So he calls in his old crew, and they're going to rob the casino. Meanwhile, his wife, Gina Gershon, is trying to escape. And I assume he saves her, because I believe there's a third installment. I think they made 3 of these. So I think there's a third installment with him, with this look. This isn't a bad movie for Travolta. He's not really a great action star, but he's not bad. He's not awful at it. This is a good look for him. It works. It's kind of like a poor man's Ocean 11. I didn't like Ocean 11. I would prefer poor man's Ocean 11, probably. I would probably say it. Yeah. So first act, probably get the shakedown from the events of the previous movie. Him and Gina Gershon are meeting for some event, and she gets kidnapped. He gets contacted by the lead bad dude who says, "You got to rob this casino or I'm going to kill your wife." He agrees to do it and promises his wife he'll save her. So he assembles the old crew from the previous movie, maybe a new guy, and then they proceed to take down the casino to save his wife. During that process, complications ensue, and he has to turn the tables on the bad guys to get his wife back. Third act, he does, because he's John Travolta, and the movie's not meant to be realistic in any way. Just kind of a satisfying sort of heist flick. Now, and this one I know is in here. High Rollers. It's not a bad name. Not a bad cast. Good looking poster. Travolta looks like he lost a little weight. Director Randall Emmett. Writer Chris Syvertson. And it just says the sequel of Cash Out. Cash Out was the first movie 2 years ago. And then, again, I think they're making a third one. Or they already did. I'm not even sure. So, for Travolta, this is sort of a low-budget deal. These are the kinds of movies that, like, Bruce Willis was making late in his career before he retired. And Stallone is making these movies. Like, they're just sort of, you know, by Hollywood standards, are kind of low-budget to mid-budget with a bankable star that, you know, guys my age will go, oh, John Travolta, maybe I'll see that. But it's probably not going to get theatrical release because these guys aren't considered A-listers anymore, which is a shame because, I mean, I always kind of liked Travolta. He was great in Pulp Fiction. He's been good in a few other movies. Unlike, you know, he's been in he's had such a long career. He's obviously been in some real stinkers, but this seems like a comfortable role for him. This seems like a role he could play. I hate it when he plays a villain. He was a terrible villain in the Punisher movie with Thomas Jane. I thought he was bad in that. And I hear the Gotti movie he did is legendarily bad, but for the most part, he's solid in a flick. So I think this is probably a pretty watchable film, and it's kind of in my wheelhouse. I kind of like heist movies. I could sort of take them or leave them, but with Travolta, it might be some fun in that. So this one's hard to rate too. These three movies because I kind of like them all. So you got High Rollers, Gator Creek, and Project Silence. I don't know. On the bottom, oh boy, I guess I gotta put Gator Creek on the bottom, only because it looks fine. Again, I would probably see it, but you know, there's no stars in it, and it does kind of look repetitive. I'm not super excited to see this, so, but I would probably watch it. Number 2, I think it would probably have to be High Rollers. I mean, it's probably going to jump to number 1 because my girl loves John Travolta, so we'll probably end up seeing all 3 movies. But yeah, I would totally watch Vinnie Barbarino in this role. And finally, Project Silence. South Koreans have been knocking it out of the park with movies. They're especially good at action. They are making movies like we used to make in the late 90s and the early 2000s. Good movies. So, you know, and with a movie like this, the subtitles aren't going to bother you as much because there's not going to be a tremendous amount of dialogue. A lot of it's going to be like, run, look out, oh no. You know, there'll be a few scenes with exposition, but mostly it'll be a lot of shouting and running and action. So you almost forget about the subtitles or, you know, the dub, depending on what it is. So, yeah, I would check them all out. Anyhow, that's it for me. Tony D and Little Joan. Check us out on the green site, the orange site, and the black site for more videos. Check me out Friday in Cherry Hill for my event if you are so inclined to visit the senior center in the residence in Cherry Hill. Check first if you're not a resident or family member if they'll allow outsiders. Saturday, I'm going to do my live stream. Normally, I do my live stream on Sundays at 7. This week, I'm doing it Saturday at 7 because there is a Super Bowl on Sunday, and I got a party to go to. So I hope you'll join me then. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow.